I can
Yeah.
do this. I've been doing this all along. And I do the same thing when I'm like getting ready for a big speech with 1,000 people. It's like execute the opening, right? Once you get into the groove of the opening of getting going, you've done this. You've done this hundreds and hundreds of times.
Yeah.
You'll get into the flow. And so it's like breaking it down into a smaller component part, whatever the thing is, has been been really helpful. But none of that has anything to do with anybody else. That has to do with my work, my prep, me executing. The rest typically follows. But that story then seemed to be intimidating when I never even thought of that. That wasn't even part of my equation, that it could intimidate the other team. It was just the truth. And they loved when people wore the Beat Wayne
Yeah.
sweatshirts, or they said Beat Wayne, or they thought, they loved that because it showed that we were thinking about them. And so I end that section saying, why do that? Why do that? Like we live in Ohio, and you're not originally from Ohio, but you understand the Ohio State Michigan rivalry. It's
Oh
like,
man.
why do you cross out the M's or say beat Michigan? Just focus on yourself, your team, executing with excellence each and every day in practice, and then show up on the field and do it. I think the obsession with Michigan is weird. I mean, and I know people in Ohio, they hate me saying this. They hate this. They love this obsession. They love having somebody to hate. I don't know. I just view it differently, and I know I'm in the huge minority in that case. But to me, it's like, focus on your stuff and your work and your execution. I think the results will typically take care of themselves. Brook Cupps is a great example of that. Speaking of another person in real life who's actually doing it. So anyway, I probably could go on forever about this stuff, but that's overall how I view it.
I did have a couple questions, and I was going to save this for later, but this lines up perfectly. Early in the book, you share a story about being the starting quarterback for Centerville High School at the age of 14 years old, which is
Yeah.
insane to me. If you could go back in time and talk to 14-year-old Ryan, what final score do you tell him to measure, and which one matters?
So the advice to your younger self question is a little tough because there's no chance I would have listened.